plenty of the horticulture concerned with the cultivation of flowering and ornamental plants for the garden and for the forestry, comprising of the floral industry. The development of the via plant breeding a few and new varieties is a major occupation of the floriculturists. The floriculture crops in the include the bedding plants, house plants, flowering garden, and the pot plants, cut cultivated greens and the cut flowers. Distinguished from the nursery crops, the floriculture crops are though generally herbaceous. Bedding and the garden plants consist of the young flowering plants, annuals and the perennials, and vegetable plants. They are the grown in the cell packs, in pots, or the hanging baskets, as well as the inside of the controlled environment. And the sold largely for the garden and landscaping, Perborium, geraniums, impotens in the busy leases, and the petunia are the best selling bedding plant. The many cultivators of the chrysanthemum are the major perennial garden plant in the United States. Flowering plants are the largely sold in the pots and for the indoor uses. The major flowering plants are the poinsettias, orchids, floristis, chrysanthemums. The finished the florists as well as foliage plants are also sold in the pots and the hanging of the baskets in indoor and the okay, ratio uses, including the largest specimens for the office, hotel, and the restaurant interiors. Cut flowers are the usually sold the pouches or the as the bomb pits will be the folios. Cut flowers are usually sold in the bunches of the bomb pits with the cut flower. The production The production of the cut flowers are the specially known as the cut flower industry. Farming flowers are the foliage employs specially aspects of the floriculture, such as the spacing, draining, and the pruning plants and the optimal flower harvest and the post-harvest treatment, such as the chemical treatment, storage, preservation, and the packing. In Australia and the United States, some species are the harvested from the wild for the cut flower market. Historical background in floriculture. Floriculture is the flowering farming with the disciplining horticulture concerned with the cultivation of flowering and ornamental plants for the garden and the forestry, comprising the floral industry. It includes the cultivation of the flowering and ornamental plants for the direct sale or the for use raw materials in cosmetic and perfume industry and in the pharmaceutical sector. It includes the production of the planting materials through the seeds, cuttings, proddings, and the grafting. Floriculture is not only includes the cultivation of plants but also their marketing. Flowers are the marketed to local as well as the distant markets. Cut flowers are the also exported along with produces like scents, medicine, and oils. The commercialization of the flowers cultivation has been in, in results of the changing of lifestyle in the people. Various forms of the floriculture plants, including the plants, foliage plants, cut flowers, flowering plants, and the cut cultivated greens, Flowering plants are used the indoor and the sold in pots. The foliage plants also used the indoor and the sold in the pots or hanging basket. Flowers are the sold in the markets in the world. Floriculture has the tremendous potential in India. The different types of the climatic conditions provide for the possibility of growing almost all the major flowers, the species, the world, whether of tropical, subtropical, or temperate climate region. Produce the variety of the flowers in India. Where flowers in India are produced in the open field condition, mostly during the mild, mild winter months, without the use of any advanced technology. As a result, for the quality of the quantity available for the marketing are heterogeneous and vary according to the prevailing the weather conditions. India has the better opportunities in the development of the floriculture sector due to the some of the reasons. Diverse climatic conditions and locations suited for the growing the different types of the flowers. The skilled manpower of the observe the technology and implement the same and relatively low soil and the water supply of the most location. Good radiation sunlight leading to the healthier plant growth and the better quality flowers. Good period of sunlight even the during the heavy rains leading to the continued plant growth and yield. Floriculture is the interdisciplinary science that is the both challenging and rewarding and the floriculture as the connection of production, environment management, plant physiology, technology, and the automation marketing. Trade classification. Trade classification. The floriculture is the become the booming industry in the world today. The sector, according to the international trade classification, bulbs, tubers, and tuberous roots, other leaf plants, the cut flowers and the flower buds, fresh, dried, dead, the bleached, impregnated, and otherwise the prepared foliage in the branches and other plants, the trees of the shrubs, bushes, and the other plants and the mosses, lichens and the grasses being the roots of the kind suitable for the banquet and the ornamental purposes. Fresh and dried the blanched, the otherwise the prepared. The government of India has adopted new Indian grade classification, which is the based on the harmonized system of commodity description and coding system. Harmonized system codes for the government of India and they follow the Brussels of the draft nomenclature. The description of the according to this comprises of the following. Bulbs and the tubers are the tuberous fruits and these are the products that may be the planted in pots, boxes and or similar containers. Live plants, these are the plants that are the used for the permanent or semi-permanent decorations. Live plants, these are the plants that are the used for the permanent or the semi-permanent decoration. In courses, homes and the building, these are the old plants which is the suitable for the planting. The government, the bulbs and tuberous roots, these are the products that may be they planted in pots. Live plants, these are the plants that are the used for the permanent and the semi-permanent decoration in offices, homes, buildings. These are the old plants which is the suitable for the planting for the ornamental purpose. Cut flowers, these are the flowers and flowers, birds, the suitable stem, a varying length, which makes them suitable for the farm pets or for the ornamental purposes. Examples of the cut flowers, roses, carnation, chrysanthemum, orchids, gladiolus. The cut foliage are the leaves, twigs, grasses, shoots. The economic value of this the lies not in the decorate effect of the blossoms, but in its the color and the shape. In India, floriculture is the emerging and important commercial crop. A lot of importance has been the given with the sector due to the multiple uses, satisfying the aesthetic needs of the people is the apart from the creating more employment, ensuring the higher rate of the returns to rural people and the facilitating the earning more foreign exchange. More especially, they are the being used the raw materials in the manufacture of essences, perfumes, medicines, and confectionaries for the direct of the consumption by the society. The production of the flowers is an the age-old occupation. This does not find a place in the literature on the horticulture crops. Until last decades of the growing and the selling of the flowers was confined to few families. They grow the variety of flowers on the same land, which where the soul closest to the house and the could not to survive the long journey. The situation in the last decades, however, changed. Now, different farmers are the growing different flowers, both for the domestic market and the export purposes. What are the strengths of the mainly congenial agroclimate condition for the cultivation of the various flower crops? Large scope of the rainwater harvesting, consumption of the chemical fertilizers and the pesticides is very low. Proximity to Southeast Asian countries for the international market weaknesses. Remote and the scattered nature of the poor community, non-availability of the organized the marketing and the before processing of the facilities, and the lack of the perennial water resources, nature of the calamities and erratic rainfall, prevalence of the pests and disease due to the conducive weather conditions, fluctuating the price trends in the form of the produce, high labor costs, undulating land topography is all are the strength of the floriculture. Next, what are the threats of the floriculture? Uncertain weather condition leading to the disturbances of the few services and communication, a lack of storage facility and market facility, these are the threats, occurrence of pests and diseases, recurrence of the youth take of the farm activity, fluctuation of the price trends of the farm of the producer, all are the threats, strengthen and threats. Okay, what are the scope importance of the floriculture? The technology have been developed for the production of the ornamental crops and what are the importance of the floriculture? Mainly as floriculture that deals with the culture of flowers and ornamental plants. That's a great importance of the daily life as well as the nation economy. Flowers help the getting out of the illnesses through the psychological enhancement. The flowers garden increase the beauty of the house or the or institution. Scent and the perfumes are the extracted from the fragrancy of flowers like the roses, water, and the attar. That's the source of the incentive to the poets and writers. Flowers increases the aesthetic sense of human being and the satisfied of the demand of the heart feeling. It's the beauty of the practice give the happiness to the all irrespective of age and the wealth. It is the principal component of the public functions and anniversaries and also extensively used for the decoration. Flower gardening is the good medium of the posing leisure time and the help keeping good health. Economic importance of the flowers, the production. Perfume industries can be established in the country, which can help the improving of the nation economy. Flowers can be the source of the earning huge foreign currency by the exporting them. Flowers can be the considered as the commercial commodity. Commercial flower production may be helpful to the increase the earning of the flowers. Establishment of the flower production farms and the perfumes industries can help the solving unemployment problems to a large extent to provide the scope to be the bring more unused the land under the flower cultivation. What are the scope of the flower cultivation? The potted foliage and the flowering plants are the less perceptibly and as the advantage of the overcut flowers as most of the important folios and flowering plants are native to the tropical region. It has the very good potentiality to become an important supplier of the flower and ornamental plants in the different countries, Asia, Middle East, and the Europe. The agroclimatic condition is well suited for the growing many flowers and the foliage plants. Since the floriculture is the new industry, it has the a tremendous scope to the develop bonsai cultures. Is the very recent development in the field of the floriculture. And the bonsai culture is the large tree that transforms the miniature from the giving the lucrativity look, such as the plants have the heavy demand in the society through the they expands you to meet up local demand and for the expert many bonsai making with the farms. In bonsai culture is the largest tree that are transformed in the miniature from the giving the lucrative look, such as the plants have the heavy demand in the society through the expansion to meet look of the local demand and the export many of the bonsai marketing farms in the establishment. Cactus is the high valued of the ornamental crop sold in the plant nurseries and the shops and some of the progressive nurseries when then the amateurs are trying to the make the special types of the plants. These are the scope of the flower cultivations. Next one, tissue culture technology can be the exploited for the developing quality seeding in many flower species in order to get the local as well as the international market. There is the high demand of the fresh flower and pot plants in the Europe, America, Japan, Holland, the Middle East. There is the high demand. The very recently Bangladesh government has the include the flowers, the export the policy, such as the flowers are the suitable for the export of the such rose, gladius, the zebra, sugar rose, the marigold, orchids, the all of the easily the produce this purpose. Now, what are the floriculture? India floriculture is an age-old farming activity in India, having the immense potential of the generating the gainful self-employment among the small and marginal farmers in the recent years. Emerged is the profitable agri-business in India and the worldwide the improved the standards of the living and the growing consequences among the citizens across the globe to the live in the environmental friendly atmosphere. The production and the trade of the floriculture has the increased the constantly over the last 10 years. In India, floriculture industry comprises of the flower and trade production of nursery plants and the potted plant, seed and the bulb production, micro propagation, and the extraction of the essential oils. So the annual domestic demand for the flowers, the growing at the rate of the over 25%, and the international demand around the 90,000 crores. India share in the international market of the flowers negligibly. In India is the having the better scope in the future. There is the shift in the trend that towards the tropical flowers, and this can be gainfully exploited by the country like India with the high amount of the diversity in indigenous flora. After the liberalization of the government of India, identified the floriculture as the sunrises industry, and according to 100% of the export oriented status. The liberalization of the industry and the trade policies provide the way for the development of the export oriented production of the cut flowers. The new seed policy has already made up the feasible in important planting materials in the of the international varieties. Floriculture products the mainly the consist of the cut flowers. According to the statistics in the indicated of the handbook of the horticulture in the statistics 2014 to the total area under the flower crop. The total area under the floriculture in India, the second largest in the world and the only next to China. The production of the flowers was estimated to be the 179 1729 metric tons lose the flowers. The export committee set by the government of India, the promotion of the export oriented floriculture and units as the identified the Bangalore, Pune, New Delhi, Hyderabad as the major areas suitable for the activity, especially for the cut flowers of the four zones identified in the potential centers for the flower production, namely Bangalore, Hyderabad, Pune, and New Delhi. The Bangalore, Pune have the advantage, the ideal climatic condition where the temperature ranges between the 15 to 30 degrees. In view of this, the units established in this location do not established in the location. There is the more than 300 export-oriented units in India. APDA, agriculture, and the produce and the registered the authority of the in India. Next, landscaping and the top management. The residential and the commercial lands of the utility type of the top compress a significant portion of the Massachusetts landscape. The lands the maybe at the private resident at the business establishments of the and industrial development and municipal properties in parks, the public or private school grounds, and along the roadsides and other utility areas. Lawns and the similar top areas, the key resources as the contribute to the open space, provide the recreation and the value of the properties, and help the protect the environment. The principles of the gardening. Landscaping as the integration of the art and the science of the using plants, but the beautification of the place for the purpose of aesthetic and environmental improvement. The use of the plants and the flowers in our the daily life has increased the manifolds and it is the regarded the absolute necessity. Landscape gardening is also always the source of the pleasure and the enjoyment. It's the functional use, aesthetic value, and the ability to create and the ambient environment are well expected by one and all. Landscaping focus on the beautification of outdoor terrain and some of the extent interior settings. Landscaping usually begins with the sculpting of the soil and the natural lay of the land. It involves the planting and ornamental trees, shrubs, weeds, and the ground covers, the perennial flowers, annual flowers, and the bulbs. Landscaping involves the physical features of the hardscape and hardscape, the including the fences and terraces and retains the walls, the petted walks, the drives, irrigation system, lightning and the water features. However, the heart of the landscaping has acute and the substantial the beneficial to the mankind of the including the control of erosion, protect water supplies, the provide food, and the creative habitat for the wildlife, and providing the clean and environment by the absorbing the carbon dioxide and relaxing the oxygen. These days of the landscaping gardening has become the major business of the venture and promotes the nursery business as well as in present day of the contest. The places where the no space for the outdoor landscaping, indoor landscaping is also practiced. Indoor landscaping including the use of the pot plants, terrarium, dish gardens, tray gardens, bonsai, and the importance of the conservation of the gardening. The garden has to be one's own creation and not on the imitation, giving the discontinuation to the local environment. Overcrowding of the plants should be the avoided. Take advantage of the natural topography while designing the garden. Perfect harmony of the different components is the essence in the landscaping gardening. Before planning a design, one most of the sure for the what purpose of the garden is the utility or beauty of or both. A good designer is design the landscape in the available space. The natural topography should be the retained. Fencing should be the such as that looks natural as per the practicable and it is the should be not abstract any natural view. For example, there is the natural forecast
scenery are ill of just outside of the boundary. It should be the incorporated in the garden design in the thoughtful manner so that the appearance the part of the garden. Axis, focal point, mass effect, there are all of the gardening unity, space, extra light and time. The garden time factor is very important. The garden design should be the planned such way afternoon is the possible sit in the shaded place from the way the best part of the garden should be the visible. The growth habitats of the plants play the better role in the choosing of the right place of them. The garden is the according to the layout of the plant, tone and color. Landscape garden, the permanent backdrop is the green fronds of the various trees and the shrubs. It is possible to lay out of the garden with the double turn of the entirely white or yellow flowers, but at the same time making it charming. Also, another important point is that the better to have, have the most soothing color against the mixture of the colors. Red rose containing the only single colors be the red, yellow, or pink as the much softer tone and the beauty than the red containing the mixture of the colors. A good garden, the architecture should have the acknowledge the color in the well and the color schemes for the charming color in the garden. Mobility that in a temperate zone the garden changes color very sharply and contrasts quickly from one season to other to symbolize the mobility of the plant. As for example, many trees of the temperate zones attire themselves with the wonderful hues due to the changes in their leaf color in the afternoon and the most part of the tropical India. So the contrasting changes that cannot be the achieved. It is the possibility that brings some of the suitable changes. Legendary perspectives. Lineage the few nations had the continuous civilization from the about the 3000 BC. There's the interesting to know that the Indians were the aware of the nation culture heritage. If we look the black history Indian perspective, early information about the Harappa civilization around the 2500 to 2000 BC. Trees were considered the important and the protect their even religious values for the philosophy behind of the trees. But the it's not merely religious, but it was the symbol mutual respect and the corner relationship. The typically these are the mentioned flowering creepers, shading trees, singing birds, carpet flowers, and the barns often associated with the ashrama or other simple building. They are the common in the accounts of the exile, the principles, the characters of the Ramayana and the early Pataliputra and the Magadas and the informed the goddess in the relation to the place of the around the both the Viraya and Srinagar, the stronger rectangular layout based on the axis of the place. Mughal gardens come to the existence in the 15th century during the Emperor of the Barbar period. The gardens, the formal gardens, the based on the geometry surrounding the city. So Italian gardens came to the existence and the Renaissance is the prepared in popular culture. The resistance landscape developed through the 16th to 18th centuries, leading to leaves of the gardener in the work of the gallery. William Kent Humpy, the written the Landlord, probability of the brown is the created Osaka Putland is the remember Mahatma has said the earth produces enough of the everybody needs, but it cannot fulfill everybody's need. The urbanization of the India is take the place faster rate than the rest of the world. And by the 2030, the 41% of the India's population will be in the urban areas, compared to the about the 30% of the data. Landscape gardening, ecological benefits. Landscape gardening system is the principle reduce the supplemental watering, is the native plants, place plants, vegetable the growing condition. Next one is the plantings for the energy conservation, planting of water-loving trees, timbers, and shrubs around the streets and the wet area. Planting to increase for air purification. Terrarium, fish and the tree garden, eco-friendly landscaping. So, what are the future threats and the new innovations of the turf grasses and the production in the product? The selection of the grass species suitable for the lands, cricket grounds, and the golf courses. Standardization of the cultivation practices for the various grass species suitable for the lawns, golf, and the cricket grounds. The selection of the plant trees to reduce the air, water, soil, and the noise pollution. Studies on the energy conservation by the plantation of the area. And one case study says that the selection of the plants which require the low maintenance conservation energy. Exploration of the suitable utilize the native flora of the selection of the plants for the different type of plant material. Selection indoor plants for the various indoor situations. Standardization of production of technology for flowering and the podium pot plants. Selection of plants suitable for the salt affected the drought cases. The selection of the plant species in the terrace garden. The preparation of the various landscape designs the different turf grass production and the avenue for the farmer possibility. Prayer request for the top business and the establishment, soil, water, and other factors also dependent on the establishment, marketing needs, initial, all are the cropping cycle, so carbohydrates, the warm season. Landscaping, the sword and the grasses is the part of the soil benefit the health due to by the roots and the pieces of the thin material. Turf grasses and next one the sword of the mature grasses cover which is the produced and the intensively managed agriculture operation. It is the removed the intact with the minimal amount of the soil. Transplanted in another area of the instantly forms of the grassy turf cover. In British English, such as the Middle East, the more usually known as the turf and the word sword, the limited mainly to the agriculture senses. For example, for the turf is the plow. Sword is the growth of the specialist farms. The farms of the produce this the grass may be have the many varieties of the grass grown the one location to best suit of the consumers use and the performances of the appearance. A sword operation requires the intensive management, capital outlays, as well as the good business sense. There are the numerous risks associated with the sword production. However, with the minimizing inputs, the cost, and the producing the quality product, a well-managed sword operation in the right economic environment has the financial efficiency to stand on its own. Create the business plan for the your sword farms business and the detailed expenses for the make the short term as well as the long term factor the events. capital for the land and the requirement equivalent to it the comes of the cost of the interest, the information and the easier going to the financial. Product of the floriculture production and technology for the cut flowers. It's pretty much this class.